For years, Beyonce wasn't just powerful. She was untouchable, a living institution wrapped in flawless visuals and military-level precision. And when I was hired as a temporary stage automation technician for a closed-door rehearsal inside an empty Houston stadium, I truly believed I had stepped into the safest machine in entertainment. Nothing about her productions was accidental. Every cue was time-coded. Every light sweep pre-programmed months in advance. Even the fog density was measured. That's why what happened that night couldn't be dismissed as human error. We were running a stripped technical rehearsal past midnight. No dancers, no glam, just skeletal staging and core crew. Phones were sealed in lock pouches. External networks disabled. The arena felt cavernous and hollow, thousands of empty seats fading into darkness. Beyonce walked onto center stage barefoot, dressed in plain black rehearsal clothes. No music, no intro. Just a single white spotlight isolating her in the void. We were calibrating beam tracking. My tablet displayed idle status. Then every exit door in the stadium slammed shut at the exact same time. Not sequential, not mechanical lag. Perfect synchronization. The sound cracked like a rifle shot across the steel rafters. I checked the system panel immediately. No emergency lockdown protocol was engaged. No override command triggered. Before anyone spoke, a low-frequency hum rolled through the subwoofers. The sound engineer froze. His hands weren't touching the console. The frequency wasn't routed through our board. It vibrated through the catwalk under my boots, up my spine, compressing my chest like altitude pressure. The LED walls behind her flickered on without cue. Instead of stage visuals, they displayed live thermal imaging of the arena floor. Every crew member glowed in red and orange heat signatures. Every single one, except her. Beyonce stood at the center as a cold silhouette. A black void with no detectable temperature. I blinked, thinking the feed was inverted. It wasn't. The hum intensified. My vision blurred at the edges. And then, without a connected microphone, her voice filled the entire stadium. Calm. Controlled. Too clear. He shouldn't be here. Every head turned upward toward the rigging where I stood. I was the only temporary hire that week, the only new badge ID in the back-end system. The moving lights above me began pivoting one by one until every beam locked onto my position in the rafters. My headset detonated into static. Under the interference layered beneath the noise, I heard whispering. Multiple voices speaking in unison. Alignment requires removal. My safety harness jerked violently as if yanked by something below. I nearly slipped from the catwalk. Security reached me in seconds, but they weren't panicked. They weren't confused. They were composed, expecting this. They escorted me down without explanation while the hum continued vibrating through the structure. As the arena doors reopened, I heard a single clap echo from the darkness behind us. Slow, deliberate. The next morning, my access badge wouldn't scan. Payroll said my file didn't exist. The staffing agency claimed they never placed me. My signed contract returned an error. User not found. Even the background check company had no record of processing my information. It was as if my presence in that stadium had been erased retroactively. The only proof I had left was a single blurry photo on my phone taken hours before the incident. At first glance, it showed the empty stage under white light. But when I adjusted the exposure and brightness, a tall distortion stood just behind where she had been. Not overlapping her, looming. A warped shape bending the pixels around it. I tried to back up the image. The file corrupted mid-transfer and vanished from my gallery. That night, at exactly 3:33 a.m., I woke to the sound of distant stadium applause inside my apartment. Not random noise, rhythmic cheering. Tens of thousands of voices in sync. The same low-frequency hum vibrated through my walls. My powered-off television flickered to life. No cable input. Just static resolving into a dim live feed of a stage. The same rehearsal stage. Empty. Then she stepped into frame. Barefoot. Black clothes. No smile. She looked directly through the screen. "You were seen," she said softly. The screen went black. I unplugged every device in my apartment. It didn't matter. Reflections began moving a half-second out of sync with my body. In the dark glass of my TV, I saw her standing behind me. When I turned around, the room was empty. In the reflection, she hadn't moved. Her eyes were completely black, not shadowed, not stylized. Black like depthless holes. I moved cities within a week, changed numbers, deleted social accounts. But whenever one of her performances autoplayed in public spaces,
Is anyone
a bar,
out there?
a mall, a passing
It's
car,
so dark
the
when the
audio
lights
would
go
glitch for
down.
half a second, and that hum would bleed under the music. Once, in a grocery store, every overhead speaker cut out at the same time while her song was playing. The store lights dimmed for 2 seconds. Just 2, then returned. No one else reacted. I started researching past tours. Quietly. Anonymous accounts. I found old forum posts from former stagehands mentioning temperature drops during rehearsals. A deleted thread from years ago describing LED systems activating without signal. One archived comment read, "If you're not aligned, you get phased out." The account was deactivated the next day. I realized something that chilled me more than the stadium incident. This wasn't spontaneous, it wasn't new, it was cyclical. Every major production seemed to involve private midnight rehearsals closed to nearly all staff. Limited personnel, selective access, synchronization tests. And afterward, 1 or 2 crew members would quietly leave the industry. No scandal, no drama, just gone. I began dreaming of the arena, not as it was, but full. I realized something that chilled me more than the stadium incident. This wasn't spontaneous, it wasn't new, it was cyclical. Every major production seemed to involve private midnight rehearsals closed to nearly all staff. Limited personnel, selective access, synchronization tests. And afterward, 1 or 2 crew members would quietly leave the industry. No scandal, no drama, just gone. I began dreaming of the arena, not as it was, but full. Tens of thousands of fans wearing LED wristbands glowing in identical rhythm, their faces blank, not cheering, not blinking, just facing forward as she stood at center stage with her arms slightly raised. The hum in the dream wasn't loud. It was internal, like it was resonating inside my skull. In one dream, the crowd turned their heads toward me in perfect unison. Every eye black. I woke up with my nose bleeding. I checked my phone. No signal bars, just a single notification with no sender. Alignment pending. It vanished before I could screenshot it. People call her iconic, transformative, spiritual. Maybe that's not metaphorical. Maybe mass synchronization at that scale requires something more than choreography. That night in Houston wasn't about rehearsal, it was calibration, a frequency test, a selection process, and I wasn't compatible. The most terrifying part isn't that I was removed. It's that removal felt procedural, not emotional, not personal, like a system correcting an error. And sometimes, late at night, when the hum starts vibrating faintly through the floorboards and I hear distant applause building from nowhere, I can't shake the feeling that I wasn't erased to be protected. I was erased to be deferred.